Hi there, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today our focus is bums and tums. I want you to shoot for flowing, almost dance-like movement on the mat. Look for grace, look for control. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify where you need to, and feel comfortable to pause the stream if you do need to take a rest. You ready to take a whirl? Let's do it. You're going to set yourself up lengthwise on the mat and come to a small turnout position. Pilates V with your heels together and the toes softly splayed up. Tuck your tailbone under, pull your belly button in and drop your arms long and heavy at your side. Take a big breath in and on an audible exhale, I want you to make your right fingertips heavy to the mat as you lean gently off center. Pretend that you're trying to reach for the floor. Inhale, float back to center. Exhale, take it to the left. Just reach long and lengthened through those fingertips. Inhale to come back. We're going to add every time we drop off center. Float the right arm up in line with your shoulder and reach for the wall at the opposite end of the room. Then retrace your path back. Big inhale as you come up. Exhale as you make the left arm beautifully heavy to the floor. Reach the left arm up in line with your shoulder. Retrace your path back. Big breath in. Exhale to drop on the right. Float the arm up. And then gently arc and frame your head on the other side, reaching both sets of fingertips long for the wall at the opposite end of the room. Retrace your path back. Make the left arm heavy. Float it up in line with your shoulder. Arc and frame with the other arm. Reach long through both sets of fingertips. Retrace your path back. Make the right arm heavy. Float it up in line with your shoulder. Arc and frame with the other arm. And then use both sets of hands to trace a big circular pattern moving through the shoulders and the hips and take a little whirl. Get into those tight spots. Find your way gently back to center. Float the arms down alongside the body. Make the left arm heavy to the floor. Float the arm up in line with your shoulder. Arc and frame on the other side. Then use both arms together and trace a big circular pattern through the body, moving through the shoulders and the hips. Get into those tight crevices. Take a few whirls and then find your way back to center. We're going to roll it down from V. Start with your chin parallel to the floor. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, nod your chin to your chest, hollow out your belly, and peel down one vertebra at a time, keeping your arms long and dangly as you come down. Take a recovery breath, and then use the whole exhalation to peel back up. Get your roll down going, and then depending on how you're feeling, you're either going to stay just with the roll down, or you're going to be again adding to your roll down. The next time you come down, you're going to give me a little butterfly float. As you hit about the tabletop line, bend through the knees, peeling your heels up off the floor, coming into a haunch position and floating the arms maybe all the way overhead, and then retrace your path back, using your same roll up to restack and realign the body. Begin moving with fluidity, nodding your chin to your chest, rolling down. Allow yourself to come into a butterfly haunch position, floating the hands all the way overhead, and then back down. And then maybe the next time you come up, you can give me a single leg lift on the right and just float your hands up in line with your shoulders. Then nod your chin to your chest, peel down into the roll down, come up onto your butterfly haunch, floating the hands all the way overhead. Drop the hands down, roll back up. As you come back into a restacked standing position, float your left leg out, arms just coming up in line with your shoulders before you roll all the way down again. Find your butterfly haunch position. Roll back up as you restack and realign the body. Think of floating the right leg out to the side. Arms come up in line with your shoulders. Just get a gentle rhythm of your own going. Shooting for fluid movement. And remembering to sync your movement to your breath. You can experiment with your inhalation and your exhalation cycle, but keep the breath going. You want to make sure that you keep feeding oxygen and blood to the muscles. Let's do one more set to each side. As you complete your last set, you're going to take a small lunge out, keeping the turnout position on your feet. You're going to take a small lunge to the right, float the arms out in line with your shoulders, and then just take a gentle twist to the right and come back. Step back to the midline of the body. Lunge to the left, take the arms out in front, and then take a gentle twist. Pushing off your feet, coming back. Soften through the knees as you step up. Find a gentle flow of your own. Shooting for maybe 5 sets, so 1 step to each side represents 1 repetition. Let's do 1 more set, and then we'll change the leg line on the mat. Move at a pace that you're comfortable with. As you come back to the center line, maybe place your hands on your hips and then heel toe your feet up so that you can comfortably come to a goddess line and then straighten your legs. As you bend through the knees and work the movement dynamically, check that your knees are stacking more or less over your ankles as you bend, and the feet are just softly splayed up. Let's do 2 more dynamic warm-ups, and then we'll end with an extended leg line, and we'll play with the extended leg line. Drop the arms long and heavy at your side. Make the right arm heavy, almost brushing down your thigh, aiming for your ankle. Take it down as far as you can, and then bleed back up. On the same side, float back down, hold, and then arc and frame on the other side. Retrace your path back. Drop down on the right. Hold, arc and frame on the left. Then use both arms together, or rather just one arm, and bend through the knees as you softly circle while bending and extending through the legs. Then square up through your feet. Drop your hands to the mat. Your feet are squared, so facing now in the same orientation as your face. You're going to bend and extend through the legs, trying to drop your bum as low as you can while you bend. Let's shoot for 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Come back to your slight turnout position, ragdoll style peel up, and find that little bend and extend with your hands just softly placed on your hips. Let's shoot for 3 more. As you complete your last one, you're going to end with the legs extended. Make the arms long and heavy at your side. Drop down on the left side, reaching as far as you can towards your ankle line. Float gently back to center. Exhale, drop down once more. Arc and frame with the other arm. Retrace your path back. Last time. Drop down on the left. Hold the drop as you arc and frame on the other side. Then think of bending and extending through the legs as you trace a little circular pattern with just the right arm. Give me a few whirls. And then gently square up through the feet. Drop your hands to the mat and think of bending and extending through the knees. Check that your feet are in parallel now and try to anchor through the whole foot. So you're bearing down on the big toe, wrapping all the way down to the little toe and around the outer quadrant of the foot. Then come back into your plie line by giving me a turnout and come back up ragdoll style, placing your hands on your hips. You're going to give me slow, big pulses, coming down as far as you can through the hips before peeling back up, keeping the knees soft so not fully extending the legs. And you're going to shoot for between 5 and 10 repetitions if you can manage it. You're going to end for me as low as you can, and you're going to give me 10 little pulses. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Hold low and come up and down on the heels. Then you're going to ground through the heels and flutter your knees in and out. Your legs are going to feel like jelly. Try to power through. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're going to gently give me a lunge to the right, tucking the back toe under, maybe bracing both hands on the top of your thighs and pushing off the thighs, or you can reach the arms out in front if you prefer. Pause here, trying to push weight back into that back heel. And then drop your fingertips gently to the mat and try to straighten both legs. You can keep that back heel floating off the mat and just hold your extended pyramid line for at least a count of 10, trying to anchor the whole front foot. Then walk your way gently back to center. Find that prasarita, that wide standing straddle, maybe this time reaching for your ankles and just making the crown of your head heavy to the floor. If the ankles are not within your range of motion, maybe you're holding up higher along the chain of the leg, or maybe you are shooting to just place your fingertips on the mat in front of you. Hold for at least a soft count of 10. Then gently place your fingertips on the mat. Find your turnout position. Think plie line. Hands on your hips. You're going to give me 10 big pulses up and down. Trying to keep that soft bend in the knee, so not fully extending through the leg line. You're going to end low and give me 10 tiny pulses. 8, 6, 4, 2, end low, heel lift up and down. 5, 4, 3, 2, ground through the foot and flutter the knees in and out. As you complete the last one, you're going to slowly rotate to the left, tucking the back toe under, maybe bracing both hands on the top of your thighs, or maybe floating the arms out in front to reach. Keep knee over ankle on the lead leg and keep pushing weight back into the back heel. Then drop your fingertips to the mat. Straighten up both legs, taking a wide pyramid stance, trying to ground through the whole front foot, and maybe keeping that back heel floating off the mat. Hold. Keep your belly button gently pulled into center. You're going to come back to your wide standing straddle, opening up the legs in parallel, maybe keeping your fingertips on the mat, or maybe reaching for the ankles as you make your crown nice and heavy to the floor. Hang here for a bit. Then you're going to give me a gentle pivot on the mat, and you're going to step your way into the down dog frame, maybe pedaling slowly through the knees. And then maybe trying to heel and toe simultaneously on both legs, coming almost into a tiptoe down dog position. Then you can either come to stillness and hold your down dog, or you can start playing with a pistoning movement, thinking of coming into a hovering 4-point kneeling position, pushing back into a relaxed dog, and then back up again. Starting to piston through the body, hovering your knees in a tabletop, and then pushing weight back into your bum and your heels in a relaxed dog, and starting to just move in a pistoning-like fashion. Find your way from here into a plank hold for 10. Nice and parallel to the floor, strong through the arms, strong through the core, strong through the legs. 5, 4, 3, 2. You're going to find your way from here into a seated position, maybe hopping or stepping up and crossing the feet behind you to take a little seat into the mat. Reposition yourself towards the top end of the mat, and in a moment we will be rolling it down. So if you know that you need some padding for your lower back, you can place that padding into position now. We're going to begin with a little spine stretch. Extend the legs out in front, and your feet are open, maybe just a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. Sit up nice and tall in a modified staff pose with the arms at the sides of your hips. Take a big breath in and float your hands overhead. On an exhale, I want you to hollow out your belly over an imaginary ball, dropping your fingertips to the mat. And then drag your fingers back towards your hip line, restack, realign shoulders over hips. Big breath in, float your hands over. Round out over that imaginary ball, dropping your fingertips to the mat. Drag your fingertips back as you realign your body. Big breath in. Exhale to round out over that ball. Drag the fingertips back. Let's do that once more. As you complete your last one and draw back to center, bring the two legs together along the midline of the body. Bend the left leg, dragging the big toe, connecting the inner thighs and the lower abs. You're going to hug and twist that leg in while you gently float and reach the back arm behind you. Peel back to center, drag, brace into the left foot. Let's repeat that on the right. Drag the right leg up, think of hugging it in, twisting and rotating to the right. Once you've found your twist, you're going to float and reach on the back arm. Let's try that one more time to each side. Drag and extend the leg first. Drag and extend on the left. You're going to hug, rotate and pull into the center line, and then float and reach on the other arm. Come back to center, drag and brace. Last time on the right. Bend, drag, hug that thigh in. Start twisting, rotating and hugging in. And then float and reach on the back arm. Ease your way gently back to center. You're going to find a boat line, maybe bending both knees, tipping the weight off the tailbone. If you can, bringing it into a tabletop line, extending the arms out in front in prayer, or you can make a little fist. And you're going to give me a modified Russian twist, trying to hold your floating leg line. If this is too difficult, ground through the feet, come up a little bit higher and work your modified Russian twist from here, keeping the weight just off the tailbone. So either playing high to the mat or a little bit lower to the mat with the feet floating. All right, 2 more. And then we'll take it into a seated roll down and then a hold and play. We're going to do the roll down with a bent leg today. Feet about hip width distance apart, float the arms out in front. Take a big breath in, on an exhale, nod your chin to your chest. Keep looking towards your belly button as you connect the spine one vertebra at a time to the mat. Float your hands gently overhead, but don't drop them to the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to root through your feet, squeeze through the inner thighs and come back to your start position. Exhale to nod your chin to your chest, round out, rolling down with control. Inhale, halfway lift. Root through your feet, squeeze through the inner thighs and use the rest of the exhalation to come up. Let's do 2 more like this and then we'll end on the back. Syncing your movement to your breath. As you come down on the last one, you're going to slip out any padding that you might have underneath the back. And you're going to draw the legs into table. Scoop to peel up off your shoulders and hold. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Hold. Drop the right leg to the floor and hold. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Come back to a double. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Drop the left leg to the floor and hold. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1. Bring both legs back to table. Reconnect your head and your arms to the mat and softly float your feet to the mat, scooching them in a little bit closer to your bum. We're coming up into a bridge line and we're going to play with it dynamically once we found it. Beginning neutral spine, tilt your pelvis to the 12 o'clock position. Imprint your lower back into the mat and start articulating up one vertebra at a time, disconnecting your bum line from the mat, leading with the tailbone. Activating through the glutes, focusing on your glutes today when you're in your bridge. Hold your bridge up nice and high. We're going to play with a little double hip thrust, making your bum soft and almost dropping it to the mat before thrusting back up. You're going to give me 10 thrusts. Focusing on really squeezing those 2 bum cheeks together as you thrust the hips back up towards the ceiling. You're going to end high for me, and then you're going to think of giving me a hip dip side to side. Not a huge movement, almost going to look like the hips are swaying as you just drop one hip bone lower than the other and alternate side to side. Let's do 2 more. You're going to end with both hips level and then squeeze the knees and bring them back to parallel, squeezing in and floating back. Shooting for 10 repetitions. Keep your chin line soft and relaxed. Try not to look to the side of the room. Once you've done 10 knee squeezes, you're going to come back into your parallel line and you're going to articulate back down with control, making the back of your ribs heavy and keeping the glutes nice and tight on your journey down. Find your way into neutral spine and then float the feet into a little diamond frame. Almost think butterfly with the knees softly out. You're going to draw the knees together and open. Shoot for 10 repetitions. You're going to end with the knees together and you're going to open and close on the left side only. 10 repetitions. Keeping your head on the mat, keeping your jaw and your neckline soft. Now give me 10 singles on the right. Make your belly button nice and heavy towards your spine. Let's double up both legs together for a further 10. Once you've done 10 repetitions, you're going to end with the knees and the feet together, holding a tabletop position. Interlace the hands behind your head. We're going to work a floating crunch line, scooping to peel up off the shoulders, looking down towards your belly button, and then peeling back down. If holding the tabletop position with your legs is too much, you can softly drop the soles of your feet, bringing your legs back into parallel and work the crunch line from here. So find a crunch that works for you, either staying in table or grounding through the feet. Keep your elbows nice and wide and just rest the weight of your head in your hands. You're going to end high and you're going to take it into a straight leg stretch, bending in one knee at a time, almost thinking of tapping it towards your nose while you hold the crunch line. So your lower back is imprinted and the weight just off your shoulders. Then let's double up the leg action, bending and extending both legs together as you take it into a double leg stretch. Play with your inhalation and your exhalation cycle, but keep that breath flowing. 3, 2, last one. Float your head back down to the mat. Drop the sole of your left foot to the floor and just hug your right knee in towards your chest. Then extend and hover the left leg. Keep hugging that right knee into your chest as you start lifting and lowering the left leg, maybe playing with your foot line, toeing as you softly come up and heeling into the foot as you come down. Lifting and lowering the left leg. You're going to shoot for roughly 10 soft repetitions, and then you're going to end with that left leg hovering just off the floor. Bring your right leg into table and float your hands in a surrender-like fashion behind your head. We're going to work a modified crunch. As you scoop to come up, you're going to float the left leg up and then come back down. Two more. You're going to end with the left leg high. Allow the right leg to follow it. And then reach with both of your hands for your toes as you connect and disconnect your shoulders and your head from the floor. So just a little double toe reach. And then rest your head and your shoulders on the floor, maybe bracing into your hands. And give me a tiny tailbone lift, almost reaching with your toes for the ceiling, tucking your tailbone in towards your belly button so that it lifts off the mat. Shooting for between 5 and 10 soft reaches. Then hug both knees in towards your chest, cradle rock your lower back out. Drop the sole of the right foot to the mat and hug the left knee in towards the chest. Keep actively hugging that left knee in and begin extending the right leg. Then start lifting and lowering the right leg, maybe playing with the toe line, giving me a soft toe as you bring the leg to 90, and then bracing softly into the heel as you float the leg back down. Keep hugging that left knee in towards your chest. Shooting for 10 soft repetitions. You're going to end with that right leg hovering off the mat. Tuck the hands behind your head in a surrender-like fashion and draw the left leg into table. You're going to crunch to come up, float the right leg up, and then back down to the mat. You can keep the leg line soft, or you can maybe brace into the foot if you prefer, as you work that one-legged crunch. You're going to end with the leg high. Bring both legs into extension. You can keep the hands behind your head, or you can reach for them along. So maybe start with your shoulders and your head on the mat, and then reach up towards your toes, maybe just peeling up off your shoulders. Shooting for between 5 and 10 repetitions. And then you're going to change it up, and you're going to take it from here into your tailbone lift. Dropping the arms long and heavy at your side. Think of lifting your tailbone just off the mat. Almost think of trying to curl your tailbone in as if you wanted to say hello with your tailbone to your belly button. Shooting for between 5 and 10 repetitions. Then gently bend through the knees. Hug the knees in towards your chest. Cradle rock your lower back out. We're coming back into a bridge, and we'll play with a one-legged variant. Set up your bridge line, dropping the soles of your feet to the mat. Feet and knees hip-width distance apart. Spine in neutral. Tilt your pelvis to the 12 o'clock position. Imprint your lower back. Find that beautiful contraction through the core. Lead with the tailbone. Engage your glutes. Remember, we're focusing on glutes today. Glutes and abs. Peel up into your bridge line. And then gently float your right leg up to the ceiling. And just give me a little hip thrust on the other side. So making the left bum cheek heavy to the mat. And then thrusting back up to the sky. Not quite allowing your bum to touch the mat. Shooting for as close to 10 repetitions as you can manage. End high, and then lift and lower the right leg, stopping when both knees are alongside each other, and then floating back up to your 90 position. You're going to end with the right leg at 90. Hold steady as you lift and lower through the arms, maybe bringing them in line with your shoulders and back to hovering just off the floor, trying to keep that one-legged bridge on the left. Shooting for 10 repetitions. When you've run through your repetitions, you're going to ground both feet into the mat, allow the hands to relax, and just gently make the back of your ribs heavy to the mat as you peel back down and find your way into neutral. Hug both knees in towards the chest, cradle rock out. We're going to repeat that one-legged bridge sequence on the other side. Find your bridge setup. Articulate up with control. Active through the core, active through the glutes. Hold your bridge frame nice and steady and float your left leg to 90. Then thrust on the right by making your right bum heavy to the mat and then thrusting back up through the hips. Shooting for 10 repetitions. You're going to end piped up nice and high, and you're going to start dropping and lifting the left leg. Dropping the leg down till the two knees are alongside each other, and then floating back to your start position. Shooting for 10 repetitions. End with the left leg at 90, hold the frame, and just float your arms up and down, trying to keep that one-legged bridge line on the right. Anchor both legs into the mat. Peel back down with control, leading with the ribs, keeping the glutes engaged. Ease your way back into neutral. Hug both knees in towards your chest. Cradle rock, lower back out. You're going to give me 2 or 3 rockers to come into a seated frame. Bending your legs in table, nodding your chin to your chest, and rocking the body gently up and down, hollowing out through your belly, rounding out through your spine as you rock back as far as your shoulder blades. Then push up into a seated frame, sweep the legs underneath you, and find your way into 4-point kneeling on the mat. Hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. You could bring it down onto the forearms if you need a little rest for the hands. We're going to take it into a fire hydrant sequence on the left. Hover your left knee just off the floor and then open and close the knee to the side of the room in a little fire hydrant-like movement. Shooting for 10 repetitions. You're going to end high, kick the leg behind you, and then retrace your path back. So you're going to open your hydrant, kick the leg back into the heel, and then close your hydrant. Shooting for between 5 and 10 repetitions. Keep belly to spine the whole time. Let's do 2 more. You're going to end high for me, and you're going to flutter that knee for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. You're going to push back from here into a soft, relaxed, parallel child, taking a little stretch here. Draping your elbows and your forearms softly on the mat. Then ease your way back into 4-point kneeling and set up your fire hydrant on the right. When you're ready, you're going to begin opening that knee to the side of the room and drawing it back to a hovering position alongside your stabilizing leg, keeping nice and long through the spine. Shooting for 10 repetitions. Then you're going to add your kick. As you float up, you're going to kick the leg behind you and then close your hydrant. Keeping a nice brace into the heel at all times. Shooting for as close to 10 repetitions as you can comfortably manage. You're going to end high for me. And you're going to flutter that knee for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1. You're going to push back into your soft parallel child, draping your elbows and your forearms on the mat and just taking a mini time out. Make sure that there's no tension in the arms. The arms almost feel like limp noodles, just softly connected to the mat. Then ease your way from here back into 4-point kneeling. Make sure that the hands are stacking underneath the shoulders. Tuck your toes under. You're going to come to a hovering knee position, holding table, so a nice long line through the neck and the spine with your core braced. You could use a flat hand or a fisted hand, depending on how your wrists are feeling. Hover the knees off the floor and then squeeze the knees into the center line and come back to parallel. Make sure you've got active glutes, active inner thighs, active core. Shooting for 10 big squeezes. Then drop to the knees, keep the toes tucked under. Come into a high kneeling frame with the hands on the top of your thighs. Stretch off the center line, pausing for 2 or 3 breaths before coming back. We're just going to do 5 camel L leans, keeping those toes tucked under, shooting for a nice stretch down the top of your thighs and into the lower belly area. Last one, then we'll come to a down dog frame and we'll play with the 3-legged dog toe tap. Come back to 4-point kneeling, float your bum up to the ceiling, set up your down dog frame, then kick up the right leg behind you, keeping a brace into the leg as you tap the big toe to the floor and kick back out, shooting for 10 repetitions. You want to feel that glute on the right. Keep belly to spine. Once you've done 10 repetitions, find your down dog frame and walk your hands back towards your legs, ending in a loose forward fold. Bend through the forearms, bend through the elbows, hold onto the forearms and just hang here. Maybe playing with the weight distribution on the balls and the heels of your feet if you like, or holding steady if your legs are warm enough, and try to iron out that kink behind the knees. Then gently from here, walk your way back to 4-point kneeling. Find your hovering knee position and begin squeezing the knees into the center line and back into parallel. Long tabletop line through the back. Belly button fused to your spine, nice and strong through the arms and the shoulders. Shoot for 10 repetitions. Then drop to the knees, keep the toes tucked under, find your camel lean. You're going to dip off the center line, pausing for a second or 2 before floating back up. Not dipping at the waist, keeping that long line through your thighs and the lower belly area. Floating the hands up just in line with the shoulders and then back down. Let's do 2 more. And then we'll find that down dog frame and we'll play. Come back to your tabletop position. Toes are tucked under. Float your bum up to the ceiling, set up your down dog frame. When you're ready, you're going to kick up into a 3-legged dog and tap the toes to the mat, keeping a brace into that leg and shooting for 10 kicks. Once you've done 10, you're going to find your down dog frame. Pause, take a little stretch here. And then think of gently walking your hands back towards your leg line. Bend through the elbows. Hold onto your forearms. Just softly hang down. Making your elbow points heavy. Making your crown heavy. Trying to keep the weight distribution equal on the balls and the heels of your feet. And then drop your fingertips gently to the floor. Look towards your feet. Float them back into a Pilates V, coming back to the first position you used on the mat. Soften through the knees. And ragdoll style, peel back up. You're going to give me 3 roll downs from the V position. Nod your chin to your chest. Hollow out through your belly as you peel down 1 vertebra at a time. Think of unzipping all the way to your big toes. To come back up, zipper up from the big toes, along the inseam of the feet, along the inseam of the inner thighs. Pull up from the pelvic floor all the way towards your sternum. Sync your movement to your breath. Use a whole exhale to peel down with control through the core, control through the spine. Keep your inner thighs active, both on the roll down and on the roll up. One last one before we wrap with our practice for today. Restack, realign. And then end off your practice by bringing your hands to prayer and taking a little bow. Thank you so much for coming out and playing with me today. I do hope that you enjoyed today's class. Give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy. Shoot me your comments. Remember to keep your notifications on and be ready for yoga on the mat tomorrow. Keep it light.